Okay, this is going to be an up close and personal conversation. And I've been recently doing some speaking, and the subject that I've been talking about is the shadow. And one of my latest talks that I did was called Shadow Dancing. I'm going to be doing an upcoming talk that is also going to be covering this theme. And in case you're wondering why I'm kind of doing an up close and personal talk here, is because when talking about the shadow, I think that's the most up close and personal that we can get with ourselves. And as you can see, I've got my shadow right here next to me. It's a part of each one of us that we carry within ourselves. And the reason why I decided to come on and talk about the shadow is because I was at the movies yesterday, and one of the previews for a movie that's coming out is called Gemini, and it's with Will Smith. And I don't know if the movie's going to be good or not, but that's not the point. The point is the whole symbology of Gemini number one, which in astrology, Geminis are the two twins. And the symbolic nature of the two twins being self is the first thing I want to bring to light. And the second thing is, in the previews of the movie, Will Smith is sent out to hunt this person down. And when he discovers who the person is himself. And I got really excited when I saw that. And again, it's not about the movie, because I don't even know if I'll go see the movie. Maybe I probably will. But the main thing about this is that how the collective theme of how shadow work right now is so in our present environment of what we are really seeing out in the world. And what is important is that what we're seeing out in the world, that it is that we don't like, is an aspect of ourselves, is an aspect of our own shadow. And it's inviting us in to take a closer, deeper look. And so as Will Smith discovers that who he is about to fight is himself, it was just like, how perfect is that? Because that's exactly what we're doing when we're doing shadow work, is we're battling the enemy within. And so the other part of this conversation that I want to bring in as far as shadow work as well is, the shadow is everything that is unseen. It's the negative traits that we carry within ourselves that either we don't know about, or we're afraid to admit, or we don't want others to see, so we hide them. But along with that also goes with the shadow that is our light, that we ourselves are afraid to shine. And we may say that, oh, I want to shine bright, but the truth is that, like Marianne Williamson's quote, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate, our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. So the other preview that I saw yesterday when I was at the movies was one with Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones. And this was about a son who was Brad Pitt, and who was sent out to, in my words, overthrow his father, because his father had turned into creating this way in which he could totally destroy the world. And so they needed to destroy Tommy Lee Jones. And so what I felt so excited about in that, and how profound that was, is that this is also about our own internal shadow of self, and how we become our own oppressor. And in life, the masculine, and in astrology, the masculine in our chart, which is our sun sign, is all about our soul nature, and it is how we are here to express who we are here to be. And the work of the father complex, the work of us becoming our own hero, and the hero's journey is about overthrowing the oppressed nature of self that we felt inflicted by the masculine, whether we had a literal father in terms of, a male figure. We did have some form of a male influence in our life. And a woman can even play out that male archetype in our life. So those of us who grew up maybe with one parent. So I just thought this was, again, just so exciting to see that this work, even though it's not out there on a, out front level, because the consciousness of the world right now, and really of our culture, is just not there yet, but we're getting these little, like, themes that are coming up, and those of us like myself that are able to tap into these themes, because that's what I do, right? I follow collective themes. I can connect the dots. I see the patterns. I see where everything's moving, and that's what helps me on how to speak to people and where people at and where consciousness lies and where it doesn't lie yet. And so, we're very much, when I talk about shadow work, I'm actually pretty shocked at how many people don't really realize what that is, especially when I talk to people that are therapists or have done, it's such, Carl Jung's work in the shadow work. He's the one who really dove deep into that. And he was during the time of Sigmund Freud. So the purpose of this, of course, is just to expose you to what shadow work is, and really what I call shadow dancing, and how important it is for us to dance with our own shadow. And we're at a place right now in our world collectively, and especially in our nation collectively, where we are, like, life is beckoning for us. We are being called forward in a way that we haven't before. And those of you who have heard me speak have heard me say the same thing. And we are being asked to show up in ways which we have never shown up before. And we are asked to be our, most authentic self, and to really reveal the individuality of who we are, which is really our entrepreneurial creative spirit. Whether we're entrepreneur or not, it doesn't matter. I believe we all have the entrepreneur archetype within us, because that is our creative spirit. That's our uniqueness. That's what differentiates us from everybody else, and yet connects us to everybody else, is through our differences. And we've come out of an era, we're trying to come out of a time where, it's like survival was about being part of the tribe and being part of the group and being, sameness. And that was how people and families got through, is that we needed to stick together. And the same is true, except this time it's not about sticking together and not having an individual identity. It's about individuating from that tribal way of thinking into individualized thinking, till we become just one big tribe, and we are a tribe of individuals. And that's where we're moving. That's where we're headed. That's where we're seeing all of this, non-binary stuff going on, because none of that truly matters. The whole sexual part of, who we're sleeping with, who we're not sleeping with. Are we a male? Are we female? None of that truly matters. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like, this is where evolution is going. And, the more we can get on the program of that, the better and faster and truly more joy we can bring in our life, more potential we have in our life, the more we conquer these shadows that we are seeing out in the world today, where, people are being persecuted, and there's still all the racial stuff going on. All of this has everything to do with the shadow work. So I'm inviting you to take a look at that for yourself. Ask yourself the question, where am I still in shadow? And probably the answer will be, you may not even know. And that's why you need an expert to do that. And that's why you need somebody like myself who is able to help identify that, because that's what I am just so amazing at doing. And I'm just going to put it out there like that. I mean, that is not something that I decided I was going to be doing in my life. This is not the work I thought that I'd be doing. The work that I thought by doing that I would be doing in the world, I'm no longer doing. And this is where I've been called. And I've been called to this direction, and I have chosen to follow it. And in doing that, I've had to brave a lot of things along the way. And the shadow is part of it. And, for me, it all began back in, I think when I was about 31 years old is when it really all began. I really started to have the realization of, what shadow work was. So, like I said, this is something that you cannot avoid. And I don't care where you are in your path of consciousness. It's like, this is something we cannot avoid. And any time we're looking to go to a deeper level in our life, we will deal with another aspect of our shadow. There is just no other way around it. It's just how it works. It's how I've seen it work for me. It's how I've seen it work with people. It's what I've learned through, my years of studying and working with some really great, amazing mentors. It's just how it is. So you probably might want to consider jumping on board. And if you would love to spend, I would love to spend some time, a consultation with you and working with you in understanding this more deeply for yourself. So I'm going to post some links and, schedule. and let's have a conversation. No charge for the consultation. Okay, are you ready to dance with your shadow? Namaste. And recording.